Hey there, folks. We're live. I'm at. Someone's checking me out there. I'm at the Hilton in New Orleans, and I'm here for the Future of Publishing Mastermind. So the quietest place, or what I thought was the quietest place, was this sort of little out of the way corner, but it appears it's a more popular elevator than I thought it was. But I didn't want to go back up to my room because the Wi-Fi in my room is terrible. So we're gonna do the best we can. Hopefully I'm coming through all right. I'm gonna do the post for everyone, and I'm being smart. I got it ready in advance because that's how I'm doing this time. All right, comment. Whenever I click to comment, it reloads the page. Like, what the heck? All right, at everyone. At everyone. All right, there we go. There's the post. The infamous everyone post. Oh, that's awesome. Yay, you can see and you guys can hear. I love it. Yeah, we're just like on my laptop. I might actually walk around a little bit too. We might do some of that, but for now, I'm just gonna be sitting here in this corner, partially because my laptop was a little bit uncharged and there's an outlet right here and there's lighting and there's like an escalator just like right over there that's really loud too. So it's nice not to have that going on. So anyway, yeah, this is the conference that Russell Nolte and Monica Leonel put on, and it's pretty small. It's actually kind of nice to be a small conference. I think there's like maybe only 80 people here, and then Tadra and Mel Jolly, who do things for NINC, who do things for a host of other conferences, are kind of the ones like running the actual operations of the conference, and it's been really good. One of the things they've been doing a bunch of that I love is we have a session, and then we'll have roundtables talking about a variety of topics, but of course the session is also a part of it. And we talk about like Russell had this thing like talking about how it's our 6-figure breakthrough moments that we're looking for. And there's actually been some really revolutionary things. Sarah Cannon and I have had like multiple conversations talking about things because of course she runs a business helping authors with organization and creativity and stuff like that, and as you know, I run a business helping authors with marketing and advertising. And I've been chatting with Elizabeth Ann West and Steph Pajonas, who run Future Fiction Academy, and then also Shell Honecker, who does Indie Author Magazine. And she also has this new thing she's starting called indieauthortraining.com. That's super cool. And she's doing some amazing things with automation that have blown my mind. Stop playing with your hair. You know what? That's great, Dennis. You can tell me that all you want. It's still gonna happen. So yeah, it's the like I've been using Zapier and things like If This Then That for 15 years, and what Shell showed this morning like blew my mind as far as kinds of things I could do. Like I realized I can actually make a spreadsheet that is a list of all of the Writing Wives clients, and then have Zapier access that spreadsheet, have Zapier access my email, have ChatGPT look at my email and look for emails from people who are on our current client list and highlight those emails and maybe even flag them and put them in a to-do list or something like that for me. Just like all sorts of cool things. Hey, Pip Jeffcock. Okay, so you found me in both places. Hey. So yeah, it's pretty cool what they have going on. So I'm going to chat a little bit about that and some other things we have going on. And I might move because I swear I sat down here for like 15 minutes before I started doing this, and no one was coming out of this elevator, and now everyone's coming out of this elevator. But hey, c'est la vie. It is what it is. So, but also, how's everyone doing? How are you guys back in the regular places in the world? It's kind of funny because like this is actually a regular place in the world, but whenever you're at a conference at a hotel, you just sort of feel like you're existing in like some sort of like pocket dimension outside of time, right? And you always think like, I'm going to get all this stuff done while I'm there. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not going to get anything done while you're there. but you are going to have really good conversations, and that's exactly what it's here for. Also, this hotel, it satisfies my requirement for a great conference hotel because it has 2 centrally located bars and a centrally located coffee shop, which is also super cool too. Good morning, Kate. How you doing? Oh, I missed Chad. Hi, Chad. Who else did I miss? Anyone else? I think I said hi, Jill. I'm sorry if I didn't say hi, Jill. She's like the most important person to say hi to. But yeah, the conference is, like I said, it's neat because it's a really small one, which means you actually get time to talk to everyone and to plan and to strategize and to do things. And there's a lot of authors here who both still write and also do things helping other authors or running different types of businesses. Like Sarah Cannon, for example, who writes and runs her business. And of course, there's myself, and there's people I've never even met or heard of before who also do these things too. So it's super cool. One of the things that's, of course, been a big topic this year is AI, and there's been some panels on ethical use of AI and how you can use AI on your own works to enhance what you're doing. And in many of these sort of scenarios, it has nothing to do with actually writing your book. It's more like helping you to create a series Bible by just like feeding your book into an AI and saying like, hey, what color was a character XYZ's hair 3 books ago, or something like that, or stuff like I talked about, like checking your email and flagging important emails that you need to deal with. So a lot of really cool things have been coming out of it there. Shell showed me things with Zapier, which, if you're not familiar with Zapier, what it does is it can connect 2 pieces of software. They have like 6,000 connections. So you can have a form on your website. When someone fills out the form, it can put that information into a Google Sheet. It can validate the email address through an email address validating service, and then it can fire off an email sending them a link to BookFunnel to get the thing that they have coming in from BookFunnel. So it can do a lot of really cool things. And she showed stuff like where she's basically having Zapier, come up. Zapier is connected to a bunch of things they're doing, and it might be also taking information, feeding it to ChatGPT, and saying for hey, for this blog post that we just did, come up with 10 SEO keywords for this blog post and put them into a document, and then also generate an image with Midjourney to use with the blog post, and then put into this document as well for us to review. So super cool stuff. Hey, Cithros. I mean, I'm in a hotel, so it's pretty easy. Actually, I should say the hotel is not super warm. So some folks, by the way, are on YouTube. So if I respond to somebody that you didn't see make a comment, that's why they're showing up on YouTube or something like that. So I really feel like if you really want to understand how to use things like ChatGPT and AI for things beyond writing and ways to automate your business and give you more time to write, then you really want to actually check out Shell's, what's it called here now? indieauthortraining.com. She's building a thing there that's really all about empowering authors to be more efficient and to have more time to write. Because I feel like writing is the one part of your business that only you can do. And generally speaking, every other part of your business is something that you can get help with in some way. And I actually had a really good conversation with Samantha, who runs not Novel Publicity. She runs Aurora Publicity. Novel Publicity is Melissa Storm, who's also here. But she was talking about how one of the things she always has to, she doesn't always have to do, but one of the things she'd make sure people understand is that when you use a service to help you get something better done, to automate, whether it's a service of humans or it's software, what you're not necessarily paying for something where you expect to get that money back. If you were to hire me to run your ads, you might find that, my fee chews up a lot of your profit. It doesn't chew up all your profit, but let's just say my fee to run your ads chews up 50% of your profit that you would have been making, had you been running the ads yourself. However, because I'm running your ads, now you can write the book in that time. And if you can put out an additional 1 or 2 books a year, because you're using me to run your ads and you're using some other service to help you with newsletters, to help you with formatting, all those different things, if you can write 1, 2, 3 more books a year, well, that's something that you would not really get any other way. There's only a finite amount of time that we have in our lives to do things. And if you try to do everything yourself, you cut into that time, and the biggest reduction you're going to have as an author is going to reduce the time you have to write books. So I feel like that was really actually important thing for even me to put together, because even I hadn't really thought of that when I think about hiring people and using services. I'm always like cost analysis, like can I do it myself for less, all sorts of things like that. But I never stop and think about how it frees up time, and I can use that time to do the one thing that no one else can do. So I'm super stoked about that. Someone said, "Yay, good presentation." I'm not sure who said that, but it's Monica that said that. Hey, Monica. Well, Monica, you're watching. She's probably like just over that way somewhere. But yeah, so there's a lot of great stuff here. So this is an invite only conference though. So for when it happens next year, you just saw Monica comment in chat. She's the one you got to reach out to, her or Russell Nolte, and say like, can I go to like the super cool future publishing mastermind in New Orleans in 2025? And I think it's worth it. I think that the people that come to this conference are top notch, and there's really good information. And if you like, cool food and old timey town and stuff like that, then New Orleans is also great. And the hotel's like right on the river. So when we're like eating breakfast and lunch and stuff like that, we're like looking out over the Mississippi River, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool setting, and they catered the food. And I am a big believer in conferences that have good catered food. Like that's like a level up for me. And the funny thing is, you might say like, Mal, there's like restaurants everywhere. It's like, no, I'm here to network. And I want to network with the largest group of people that I can possibly network with. And if it's always like lunch on your own, you oftentimes end up just sort of siloing in with like a group of people that and going for lunch with them. But if it's like, if some of the meals are catered, you just plunk down at a table full of authors and start talking about stuff. And that's to me, that's a huge value add. So I've been talking recently about like things to look for conferences you go to, and catered meals are a big thing. And not just because of the cost, because you're paying for it. It's in the cost of the conference, right? But it's the networking that you get. It's the ability to sit down with different authors at any point and just start chatting with them about their business, about what they have going on, about having like these breakthrough moments with different people. It's really cool. And the other thing that they did that I really liked at this conference is there was two times on the first 2 days. There isn't one today, I don't think, where we also there's roundtables, and there's a facilitator, and there's like, I think there's like 15 of them going on at once. Maybe it's only 10. There's a lot, and you get to go to 2 of them each time. So throughout the week, you get to go to 4 of these roundtables, and you actually have like these really great breakthrough moments with other authors. I was at Sarah Cannon's yesterday, and it was rediscovering the joy in publishing, and it was actually kind of like a therapy session for everybody that was there, as we were all kind of talking about like the different blocks that we have and what's going on in our lives, because of course the people that came to that table were all people that really were actively working on rediscovering the joy in publishing and stuff. So it was really cool. All right. I'm looking at conferences. From what you know of them, do you think they'd let me give an accounting or taxes talk for author talk in the future? That was Ashley Lefray that said that. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Ashley. But I mean, a lot of them do. I know like 20 Books has done it a couple of times. I'm not sure if this, like, one of the things about this conference is all about like, what are you going to do to up level your publishing business? And I can see definitely how like accounting can play into that. I think if it's like a really dry talk about like do's and don'ts of accounting, that might not be a huge appeal. But if perhaps it's something along the lines of like, here's how you can like improve your accounting to streamline your business using these tools and these advanced tactics and these strategies, I think that could actually possibly be a pretty interesting thing. So that's definitely worth considering. Yeah, Sarah Cannon is so real. I've actually had like multiple really good chats with her every single day. And it's actually the first time that she and I have gotten to actually sit and have a talk. And she's we just like connected just like that. She's also like really nice and stylish too. I know, Ashley, I'm not saying that you're necessarily dry. I'm just saying that, it would have to be the kind of talk that would bring something new and interesting and up leveling to even authors who are already 6 and 7 figure authors, kind of thing. And if you think you could do that, then I think it'd be worth chatting with folks about a talk like that. But yeah, catered meals are a networking secret weapon. Absolutely. If you're running a conference or you're going to conferences, ones that have catered meals are clutch. Another conference that has great catered meals, does the same thing, is Alessandra Torres InkersCon that she runs in Dallas each late May, early June is usually when it happens. I forget when this one is. She does have the online one, but there's the in-person one is pretty powerful too. So if you're looking for another conference to go to, that's a great one to hit up. And also, if you want to speak at conferences, you oftentimes do need to reach out to them a year in advance, because a lot of these conferences book up. I know Alessandra, she had her speakers for this June lined up last November or something like that. So it does take a bit of time to get on people's radars. And there's conferences I'm booked for in 2025 now already. They've already reached out to me. So it's definitely worth it to try and get ahead on people. And so the other people that I really had a great conversation with, multiple ones, was Elizabeth Ann West and Steph Pajonas, who run Future Fiction. Let me look it up because I want to get the name right. Future Fiction Academy. And the stuff they're doing with AI is super cool. And they recognize that everybody wants to use AI differently. So they even have classifications of people. They have what they call gardeners and weavers and architects and bakers, I think, are their 4 types. And they kind of talk about how hey, here's an archetype that may fit you, and maybe not one fits you, maybe you pick and choose a bit, but they're you don't have to do all the things. You can be hey, this is what's comfortable for me. A baker, makes a lot of different things with AI, and then they kind of pick and choose what they want. A gardener sort of just uses AI for certain things. You just use it for marketing automation. You just use it for image generation. You just use it for ad copy. You would never use it for writing because that's your favorite part, for example. So they have a really cool thing too, and they do some wild stuff. And the thing that I really love about them is Elizabeth Ann West really understands what's actually happening behind the scenes with AI. She understands that it's actually a vector search that AI is doing. Because all it's doing when AI works is it's just sort of learning how we put words together. And she has these really good examples of the word don't or down, right? The word down, because we use the word down in all sorts of different contexts. And sometimes the word even has the same difference, but in context, it means entirely different things. So when AIs are reading works and stuff like that, one of the things they're doing is they're saying hey, whenever you see the word down combined with the word elevator, it means something. But if I say, are you down to go dancing tonight? It doesn't think we're dancing in the basement, because it knows that means are you game? Are you interested? Do you want to? And that's the kind of things it's doing. And it has to make a separate reference for each version of the word down, and then has a giant map of all the other words that links to. That's how AIs are doing things with words. And then every time you tell AI to write something, it starts with a single word. And then it does a calculation to see what's the next most likely word to occur following that word, and then the next most likely word to occur following those 2 words. And it actually becomes exponentially more complex as it goes on, trying to figure out okay, I've written 99 words. What's the 100th word now? What's the most likely 100th word to come? And she explains all that in really clear ways. It's really interesting to learn. So if you're interested in learning about AI prompting and how to get AI to do shiny things for you, then it could be, definitely worth it. Some of the stuff that Shell was showing in her talk today would be she would actually say to AI, come up with 10 titles for blog posts. Because she actually, I guess Shell still does writing for all sorts of different places. She's for these, automotive, luxury automotive brand, and it will come up with a bunch of titles, and then she'll be okay, now write 3 paragraphs for connecting each one of these titles, generate an image, and she can do all of that with AI, and then put it in a Word doc, then make it a thing in Trello and assign it to the editor to look it over and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat what you can do, and how you can automate. And I think that the time has definitely come where AI has gone from being sort of a cool toy that can do some neat things, to a really amazing tool that you can use to actually accelerate your business and get you that one thing that is in finite supply, and it you can't get more of it once it's gone, kind of thing. Let's see. So Ashley says, County's not for everyone. Yeah, Cambridge Con and I just coordinated a day, and they sent me the submission form for next year. That's awesome. Yes, definitely. I'm going to put this on screen. It's going to cover up the entire screen, though, I think. Yeah, there you go. It's just like, I'm Where's Waldo now? Or no, Kilroy. That's what it is, Kilroy. My nose is almost big enough to do that, too. Let's see. Yeah, Joanna, too. I've actually only met Joanna briefly. They are falling on the metaphorical sword for the AI community. You're right. And one of the things that a lot of us have been talking about at this conference is how the anti-AI crowd is actually a pretty small, though vocal minority. And that people have done a lot of polls with readers across a lot of different authors that are here, and they found that like sometimes only like one or two readers, and sometimes zero readers have actually said like, no, I won't consume anything that has AI in it. Because a lot of times you say that to your readers, you're like, hey, if I use AI to help me with like plotting or some descriptive work, or it's like my little writing buddy that I can bounce ideas off, but I could put out 2 or 3 more books a year that are as good or better, would you like that? And the readers say yes, you know. It was all another thing that's really interesting. Elizabeth was talking about a time when she was writing a story that took place in, I think it was Victorian England, she said, and she had forgotten like how much of a smoking culture they had at that time. And the AI actually prompted her and said that the ballroom would be full of smoke because everybody would be smoking, and she'd forgotten that. And the AI had this description of what it would be like to be in this ballroom with the smoke and breathing it in and whatnot. And she'd totally forgotten, but the AI remembered that this was a thing. And she was able to put it in her book, and she actually got people saying that the description was so good and so real that people could actually feel like they could taste the smoke in the back of their throat. So, you know, and then she made her product better by doing that. So totally worth it, I think, to have that in play. So I am going to, I don't know, do I want to walk around the conference? I feel like it might be too loud for you guys to hear it if I go out into the main area. So, because right by where there's like a fountain, which of course is loud, and there's these escalators that go down to where some outlet malls are, you know, and stuff like that. So I don't think I will, but it's a pretty cool place, and it's a really good group of people that we have here. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is we're doing 2 more classes. I didn't realize they were coming this soon because while I'm here, Jill's like, we should do 2 classes. And I'm like, sure, let's do 2 classes. I missed your comment about the Salem witch trials. Actually, that's funny. But yeah, so we're doing two new classes, and one of them is actually a week from tomorrow. It's March 8th, and it's going to be advanced Shopify strategies for remarketing and Jill had a good name for it, and I don't remember what it was. But it's basically about like how to take your Shopify site that you might have and make sure that it's doing all the next steps that it needs to be doing. Because one of the things that you have to remember is that as when you're working with a retailer, Amazon is doing all this remarketing for you. They're taking people who've read some of your books and they're notifying them about your new book, and they're saying people like, hey, you know, you read this book, you should maybe read this other book that this author's written, all sorts of things like that. And when you move away from the retailers, you don't have that anymore. You don't have that extra steps that they're doing to pull people back in to do remarketing and whatnot. You know, Amazon is reminding people of if they left stuff in their shopping cart, all sorts of things. And if you're going direct sales, you have to do all of that. Now, it's a bit of extra work for sure, but the opportunity is that it's all yours, right? Like it's not someone else's stuff being recommended. You're always recommending your stuff, unless you want to sell other people's stuff, which you actually could do. And a lot of people do that. Pierre, who is a Shopify expert, was actually the very first speaker at the conference. And he was talking a lot about this too, about how he's amazing too, because he made millions of dollars direct selling poetry on Shopify. So like, you know, if someone knows Shopify and can do stuff, it's definitely him. And he was talking too about how there are so many things you need to make sure you're doing about your customer nurturing, about how you take people through the funnel, and you have to know your average sale value and your lifetime value of your customer, and what you can do to increase that. So that's like one of the things we'll be talking about in that class that I'm going to be doing next Friday. And then I think about 2 weeks later, we're going to be doing an advanced Facebook ads class specifically for doing direct sales. So we're not going to focus in any way, shape, or form on selling on the retailers. it's going to be 100% on doing direct sales. So some fun stuff coming there too. So you can always hit myself up. You can hit Jill up for tickets to these things. There'll be live webinars with Q&A and all that. I'm gonna do my best to keep these ones only 2 hours long, because a lot of times I go 3 and I know people's brains melt. And there's no point in the final hour kind of thing. So I'm gonna be focused and on point and keeping things rocking. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. And it's great too, because I'm gonna be jazzed, coming off this conference with everything I've learned and all the new and exciting things that I've gotten to sort of like validate with other people, who are doing a lot of this sort of marketing at scale as well, to be like, hey, I've done I've done a good number of these things a fair bit, like some of them, dozens of times. Dozens of times I've run certain types of marketing campaigns, even on like esoteric genres and on things like Shopify or Square and stuff like that. So I feel like I have a very good understanding, but then also it's like being able to combine that with the knowledge of like 4 or 5 other people who have done things at that scale is also really awesome as well. So I'm very excited about that. Monique says, I'm in the middle of creating product descriptions for my signed paperbacks and hardbacks to sell when I get back to the US. That's awesome. Yes. And that's, if I remember correctly, you're doing it so that you're going to offer them when you're in the US and get them all shipped out, and then they'll kind of go away again. So it's like the old Disney vault, right? So I think it's gonna be really cool, Monique. I think I said Monica. I'm sorry, Monique. I think it's great, and that's the sort of thing too that like you can also use ChatGPT for, or another kind of thing like that. Just say like, hey, do I have any grammatical errors in here? Can you think of a way I can punch up this description? Do I have a solid call to action, stuff like that? So. There's some definitely some cool stuff. I'm a big believer in when it comes to like writing a blurb and stuff like that for a book. I think a human still really needs to be involved, because we understand tropes and emotion better. But I also still think that even if you could do it all yourself, AI can still make like a great writing buddy. That's how Kevin McLaughlin referred to it all the time. He's like, it's my little writing buddy that I can bounce ideas off and ask it if I've missed anything. He's like, if I could afford to have an assistant sitting next to me to do that all the time, I totally would. And Elizabeth said, like, yeah, the other great thing too is that this little writing buddy, if you wake it up at 3 a.m. to ask it to help because you have an idea, is going to be cool with that. So, I think it's a really neat angle to think about as well. But all right, I am going to jet though, because it's almost time where we're all heading off to dinner. This is the one day where we're all doing dinners outside of the conference, so or lunch, I should say, for those of you who think of dinner as the evening meal. So I'm going to jet, but it was super awesome being here. Hopefully being in this elevator lobby wasn't too loud, and I'll see you all next week. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye-bye.